Ijoma and Mike had taken an oath of love and commitment to each other many years ago. They had been young and in love, and they had believed that their bond would last a lifetime. However, fate had other plans, and they were forced to separate. Ijoma went on to marry another man, a kind and gentle soul who loved her with all his heart. They had children together, and Ijoma thought she had finally found happiness. But as the years went by, she began to notice that her husband was falling ill. At first, it was just small things, a cold here, a fever there. But as time went on, his illnesses became more frequent and more severe. Ijoma was desperate to save her husband's life. She took him to see the best doctors in the country, but no matter what they did, he couldn't seem to get better. Ijoma was beside herself with worry, and she began to suspect that the oath she had taken with Mike was the cause of her husband's illness. Meanwhile, Mike's life was also falling apart. His wife had passed away suddenly, leaving him alone to care for their children. Mike was heartbroken, and he couldn't understand why tragedy seemed to be following him everywhere. Ijoma, desperate to save her husband's life, reached out to Mike after all these years. She begged him to help her find a way to break the oath they had taken, hoping that it would lift the curse that seemed to be afflicting their lives. Mike, still reeling from the loss of his wife, was hesitant at first. But when he heard about Ijoma's husband's illness, he knew he had to act fast. Together, they began to search for a way to break the oath. They scoured the countryside, seeking out wise men and women who might know the secret to breaking the oath. They spent countless hours poring over ancient texts and seeking out the advice of spiritual leaders. But no matter where they looked, they couldn't seem to find the answer they were seeking. It was as if the oath had been designed to be unbreakable, a curse that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. As the days turned into weeks, Ijoma's husband grew weaker and weaker. Ijoma was beside herself with worry, and she begged Mike to do something, anything, to help her save her husband's life. Mike, feeling helpless and desperate, decided to take one final chance. He remembered a wise old man who lived in a remote village, a man who was said to have the power to break even the strongest of curses. Mike and Ijoma set off immediately, traveling for hours over rough terrain to reach the wise old man's village. When they finally arrived, they were met with devastating news. The wise old man had passed away, taking the secret of the oath with him. Ijoma was beside herself with grief, knowing that she had lost her last chance to save her husband's life. As they stood there, mourning the loss of their loved ones, Ijoma turned to Mike and whispered, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything." Mike looked at her, his eyes filled with tears. "Me too," he whispered back. "Me too." In the end, it was too late. Ijoma's husband passed away, surrounded by his grieving family. Ijoma was consumed by grief, knowing that she had lost the love of her life. Mike, too, was heartbroken. He had lost his wife, and now he had lost Ijoma's husband as well. He felt like he was cursed, like he was destined to lose everyone he loved. As they stood together, mourning the loss of their loved ones, Ijoma and Mike knew that they would never be the same again. The oath they had taken all those years ago had ultimately led to their downfall, a constant reminder of the love they had shared and the tragedy that had befallen them.